Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Samina Kausar. I'm CEO for MySys Solutions, and I'm really excited to welcome you to the second event in the series of specialized events that have been planned for you and launched last month by BI Worldwide to focus on the various aspects of your well-being and happiness. So this is second in the line. And this is a very, very special event that we're bringing to you today. And this has been a very challenging year for all of us. Different people among us resonate different challenges. We at times find ourselves feeling bored, confined, sometimes unmotivated, sometimes overwhelmed, sometimes anxious, or just being upset at missing out on a normal way of life. We all are going through a lot of different feelings, behaviors, and situations that can impact our mental well being. But you know what? This year has also been a powerful reminder of the fact that we all are together in this, and our choices and actions have the power to protect us and make us happy in a big, big way. Then the question is, what actions, choices, and mindset can help us do this, can help us ensure our mental well being? Well, this is exactly the reason why we have planned this session for you today. And to do this, I have with me Dr. Rashi Laskari. She's a counseling psychologist practicing in Mumbai for over 10 years now. She also heads a team of counseling center. Her experience and extensive training allows her to work flexibly with individuals, children, adolescents, couples, families, and everyone. She has also offered her services to several corporates, academic institutions, and individuals as well. She has conducted various workshops on mental well-being. Her techniques have been very, very practical and very, very easy to imbibe and impact our mental well-being. So without any further ado, I'd like to invite Rashi Laskari. Rashi, please come in and take this over.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much, Samina, for the introduction. I'd like to thank all of you for inviting me for the session today. And I'm really happy to see so many of you join in, and I'm hoping we'll have more people sooner. Thank you for the introduction, Samina. You've been quite, descriptive about everything that I do. And yes, as a center, we've been based in Bombay, working towards emotional and mental well-being for the last 40 years now. But I am part of the center for the last 10 years, heading the counseling and psychology therapeutic section of it. Many of you are aware that the term mental health is now gaining familiarity. And through that, we are hearing a lot of people talk of it, especially over the last few years. I'm not only going to say the last 1 year. So from the WHO to many national as well as local bodies are doing their bit to create an awareness towards the importance of mental health. And before we jump into, well-being and our understanding of what we can do, I think the first point to understand here is the comparative between our physical health and our mental health. Just like all of us think that it's completely fair, right, to invest time in physical fitness. Just like physical fitness helps our bodies to stay strong, mental fitness is going to help us to achieve and sustain a good state of mental health. So as a result of which, we are much better in coping with difficult times, much better in coping with personal as well as professional difficulties. So to put it in one statement, it's almost like saying that just like I have physical health, I have mental health. Like I take care of my body, I need to take care of my mind. And I think that since the pandemic began and since everything kind of hit us, this has become very evident and very obvious to a lot of us, because suddenly the distractions and suddenly a lot of things were taken out of the window. So we realized the importance of this. The last few months, more so, I think have been very tough for each one of us. It could have also been possibly the toughest span, I think, since the pandemic began. It's been close to about 15 months. Yes, 15 months since we're all working from, and 15 months now has got a lot disrupted in terms of our routines, our emotional well-being, our work-life balance, and possibly a lot of other challenges that cannot be discussed, as a blanket statement for everybody. They're very personal to us. But as part of our work as a center, we've seen the last 3 months to take a more radical turn when it comes to the emotional tolerance of people. The second wave of the pandemic, more so, has brought along with it not just a sudden, at that point, it didn't just bring about a sudden surge in numbers, but it also brought many unpredictable casualties much closer to us. So almost everybody knew at least 2 or 3 people who were, reaching out for help, who were needing urgent donations or plasma donations or hospital beds, and were in situations that were extremely frustrating because there was little we could do to help. There was little we could do to stay at peace in that situation, and an overall stress around the healthcare situation that we even found ourselves as a country. Now, the second wave of, the COVID being upon us, while it was stressful as it is, in my view as a professional, I believe that more than the virus, it was the fear that was even more dangerous than the virus. Fear, as we all understand it, because we all, without exception, experience it, is an emotional response to a situation where I perceive some amount of threat. And when a lot of us say, oh, I'm feeling anxious, that anxiety is more like an anticipation of something of a threat that I anticipate in the future, right? So it's anticipation of a future threat. Now, it's comparatively easier to save myself from the COVID situation because I know that I can wear a mask, stay at home, do certain things. But the psychological virus of fear is most contagious right now because fear of loss, as I'm loss can be anything, right? Right now, I'm just calling it fear of loss because it can be loss of a loved one, but it can also be economic loss, occupational loss, just loss of status, loss of feeling like I've lost my previous lifestyle or my previous routine. Even that is a fear of loss, that all things that I could do, all plans that I did have, I sort of suddenly lost those things. And that fear of loss is prevalent in pretty much everybody to some degree. And we don't just keep it to ourselves, we often talk about it. And this sort of a chronic or extreme fear has a direct impact, direct effect on our health. So while we find ourselves in a situation where we are supposed to take care of our immunity, physically, fear has the potential to weaken my immune system because it causes headaches, it causes body pains, cardiovascular problems sometimes. A very, very common psychosomatic symptom is of gastrointestinal issues, where people complain of, just for very vague reasons, having stomach related issues. And there's nothing that comes out as, part of their scans, but it's largely related to an emotional letdown. So emotionally, physically, holding on to that fear is going to kind of cause issues, cause problems. And we are in a time where everybody needs to kind of look after their health, and we can't allow for this to take over. Hence the importance, the relevance of picking this topic up with all of you today. These are tough times for everybody, but without letting this bring us down, from today's session, I do intend to help you with what you can do to manage your mental health better. I'm hopeful that even if each one of you is able to take back some thoughts, take back some points to share with your family, with one friend, one family member. We're just expanding the circle of people who can take more charge of their mental health. And as best as is possible, we do try and keep, I like to have my sessions as interactive as is possible given the time constraint, but we will be open to questions. And I'm going to encourage all of you that through the course of the session, if at any point you feel the need to ask something, please shoot it in the chat window. If you feel that you do not want to ask the question openly for any reason, feel free to write the question personally to me and I will take it anonymously. I may or may not take the question in the middle of the session, but I will surely attend to every question towards the end of the session. So before we jump into what are the things that we can do towards taking care of our mental health. I've tried to simplify it for each one of you to remember what you're taking back. But before that, the first thing that stands out for me as part of taking care of our mental health is the practice of being self aware. So to begin with, on a daily basis, I am going to ask each one of you to spend about 7 to 8 minutes of quiet time every day. What is this time for? It's funny that self awareness is something that 7 out of 10 people do not spend enough time knowing themselves, as a result of which we not only become disconnected with our emotions, or we tend to not attend to them, but we often buy into what other people think of us, or we often buy into what is the norm, or what is socially acceptable, or as a community acceptable at any given point of time. So this 7, 8 minutes of quiet time that we're asking you to take out is largely to process your thoughts and your feelings. Look at it like this: that last year at this time, people were disappointed because there was an uncertainty of future. There was emotional stress, definitely there was, but it was limited to, I don't know how to deal with the new normal. My life plans are getting cancelled, or work from home. Now today, where we find ourselves this time around, the feeling is not just that stress. It's more intense in the form of maybe sadness. For a lot of people, grief, right? For a lot of people, a sense of helplessness, because every time we feel like things are opening up, there's a pop up of a new thing. Right now they're talking about wave 3, they're talking about black fungus, they're talking about delta. So there's such a uncertainty and helplessness to say that what can I do. And all of these things sort of evoke far more complex emotions that we did experience last year. Or if I may say, it may be even safe to say that any of us have experienced in the span of our lives, because a lot is beyond our control. So the way to deal with this is really not to push it under the carpet. It's really not to say that, oh, I won't think about it and I'll just keep carrying on with my routine and that should be the solution. One of the best strategies for managing emotions is to, number one, become aware of become aware of them. Number two is to be able to give them a name. And third is to possibly discuss them with either a friend or a loved one or a professional. So taking time out every day to be pensive, to be quiet, to acknowledge, to address what it is that I'm feeling. It also helps me understand what is more important, right? It is most important for me to accept my feelings as normal, as justified, and not to think that I am not to kind of beat myself down to say that it is wrong of me, or it is a sign of weakness, as if to say that I'm not able to deal with something effectively. So for the most part, I think that self awareness is the number one routine exercise that I think that each one of us has to build, to say that how did my day go, what were the many things that, if it is not about my emotions, it could also be about the many things that I saw myself as doing today. What was my personal observation of myself, not an observation that came from somebody else's feedback or somebody else's body language, but I noticed this about myself. This is how I am feeling. This is how much time and attention I want to give to my emotions. I maybe label the feeling and I talk about it to someone if I feel the need to. Now, as we continue to stay indoors, we're also spending most of our waking hours around our families. Uh, while I know that families are of immense support to us, for those of us who are lucky to have them around, for those of us who are connected with them remotely, uh, it is also, it also does add to sharing emotions in a way, right? Where one person's fear is kind of being shared by another. If one person is sad, if they're sharing that. If one person is anxious, it is influencing the other family members. So through and through today's session, I urge all of you to make notes, to either write it on a piece of paper or even make mental notes if you have to, and make sure that today, after today's session, you go back home to spend some time with your family to decide on just some of these things, right, that we are discussing today towards our mental well-being as coping mechanisms, as a family that we're going to kind of now try and inculcate as part of our routines. Now, somewhere in the middle, I also spoke of how a lot of what is happening right now is not in our control. And just touching upon that a little bit, that often we find our family members also worrying about so much that's happening out there, worrying about, oh, did you see the news, this is happening or that is happening. And together, mutually, the one thing that we can do is that we can always try and focus the attention on what we can control versus what we can't. It's almost like saying that if you visualize a circle in front of you and call the inner circle the circle of control, versus visualize a bigger circle outside, which is circle of things that you cannot control. So what is inside are things that I, so to say, have an influence on. I have an influence on how I take care of my health, how I take care of my family, how we safeguard ourselves. Those are things that I have control over, right? How we protect our health. There's a lot outside the inner circle that I don't have control over. But ironically, most of us feel stressed, feel anxious because we're focusing on things that are not in our control. Now, when we focus on things that are not in our control, that is actually shrinking my circle of control, right? Because my focus is on the outside. And when I'm focusing so much on what I can't control, what I can control is sort of shrinking and becoming smaller. So, number one thing that we can kind of start off with beyond self-awareness is a very individual exercise. But as a family, the agenda should be that whenever we're talking about something that is worrying us, that is worrying another person, that is a problem related discussion, we just bring up this one filter to check, are we talking about something that we can control, that we have an influence on, or are we talking about something that we're concerned about? We for sure are concerned, but we don't necessarily have control over. So we're differentiating here between things that I have an influence over versus things that I just have concern for. Things I have an influence over, I can control, and I must focus on that fully. Things that I have a concern for, but I can't control, need much lesser of my attention eventually. So I think about it, but I don't focus on it so much because that evokes much stronger emotions inside of me. So moving forward, now, I'm going to be discussing with you 6 simple habits that can help preserve your mental and emotional well-being. And to make this easier for all of us to take back, just remember the word simple, SIMPLE, and from there we'll follow through. So starting with the first alphabet, which is S, sleep habits. Getting enough good quality sleep can have a variety of health benefits, including reducing our stress levels, improving our moods. So a lot of people have come up as part of our group workshops, as part of our individual sessions, talking about how they're not able to sleep through the pandemic because physically we're not tiring ourselves out. There's little we're doing. So they find it difficult to fall asleep. Plus, there's been a radical change in our routines, in the sense that there's no morning rush, there's no pressure to wake up at a particular time, and so on for a lot of people. So that's also contributing towards taking it easy. I'm not here to define what is a good time to go to sleep as much as I'm here to insist on having a structured sleep pattern, which is basically to have a fixed sleep schedule. And before you get to that, maybe a relaxing bedtime routine, which could include staying away from screen time for at least 30 minutes before you sleep, or for that matter, any form of a stimulation for the mind, at least for 30 minutes. You could have a relaxing bedtime routine, which could either include something you read or something you listen to, or some form of a relaxation exercise that you do. And let that routine be similar. It doesn't matter if you're doing it at a 10 p.m., if that suits you, or you're doing it at a 12 o'clock, as long as you're clocking in 7 hours of sleep, and as long as when you do go to bed, you're doing it with with some sort of a relaxing routine there, where you're not sleeping with your device on you, you're not sleeping with thinking about the email that you have to send tomorrow morning, and you're not like allowing your mind to relax or not allowing your mind to unwind completely. That is what I mean by developing a sleep habit. So number one, first habit for sort of taking care of our mental and emotional well-being is to look out for your sleep habits and create a sleep schedule or a relaxing bedtime routine. Number two is which is to introduce a routine to your day. What do I mean by this? Most of you might find this a little bit odd because we go to work, we have a routine at work. But introducing a morning routine is what I'm going to start with, because having a morning routine from the second that I open my eyes, the first 2 hours, roughly about 30 minutes if I can manage that, but the first 30 minutes to the first 120 minutes, how I spend my first slot of the hour is going to have a huge impact on how my entire day goes by. So if I'm going to wake up in this sort of rush and feel like, oh, there's this pressure to kind of get the day started, and I haven't had enough time to gather myself, then everything in that day is going to go in that sense of a pressure. So make sure that you're also starting your day on a peaceful note. Don't feel the pressure to check in on social media or on news or a number or updates of what is happening as soon as you wake up. Ideally, when I talk of having a routine to your day, what I mean is to plan your day into 2 or 3 sections and get organized in the sense of get organized with your tasks. So get organized with each thing that you want to achieve in every section, preferably a day ahead. So maybe even before you go to bed the previous night, know for yourself that up to lunch, these are things that I'm doing, and this is what I have to get done between this time to this time. And through that routine also, one, when you have a routine like that, it uplifts my energy levels, right? Because I feel motivated. I almost visualize myself doing that, so it becomes easier for me to implement it, and obviously it ups my productivity. So scheduling a regular work pattern is one thing, but my routine should also have dedicated time for unwinding, dedicated time for me to take a break, for me to develop a hobby. I may not be able to afford that every single day, but most definitely I can ensure that I have some of that going for me every alternate day or a couple times in a week. So something that interests me, it could just be me reading about something that I like doing, but it has to be different from your work, and it has to be separated in the sense of this is the time that I kind of pause work and this is the time that I spend for myself every day. So whatever small victories that you make as part of this process, acknowledge them on the way and make sure that you're reviewing your achievement, reviewing your routine at the end of every week to say that beyond work, beyond everything that I have to do, these are things that I was also able to do. It helps me plan better for the week ahead. So routine to your day also to me is like, okay, now we've all gotten too used to work from home. I think we've gotten too habituated to it. So it's not as difficult as it used to be earlier. But I think that the more predictable my day will be, the more predictable my routine will be to say that, okay, this is the time that I do one thing specifically every day. It becomes easier for the mind to adapt because there's less confusion, there's less unpredictability there. So that part also will help when my routine is very predictable from every other day for at least the 5 out of the 7 days in a week. So we said S, sleep habits. We said I, which is introducing a routine to your day. Now I'm going to come to M, which is to meditate. Now, meditation is a big word, and a lot of people almost feel scared of the word meditation. But meditation doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sit cross-legged and you have to sit for 1 hour and you have to kind of do these things. No, that's not the expectation of meditation. There are different forms of meditation, and if you notice, when you hear of the different forms of meditation, somebody says focus on your breathing, somebody says focus on a sound, somebody will ask you to focus on an image, or just something that you visualize. Everybody is probably asking you to focus on different things, but one thing that is common is that they're all asking you to focus on one thing. It may be different, but the underlying point there with meditation is that It is relaxation for the mind, for the body. So simply, it is taking a moment. I'm right now just talking about a moment to be mindful. Now, I could start, with trying different types of meditation, trying different types of being mindful. It could include visualization, it could include deep breathing, it could include reciting a mantra. Notice what I said. I said that everybody teaches it in different way, but the agenda is that you have to focus just on one thing. So maybe for me, I'm focusing on my breathing in any given moment in my day, in the middle of work, in the middle of a busy day, and just that 30 seconds that I took out to focus on deep breathing will give me a sense of calmness. Or just the 5 minutes that I took out to focus on reciting a mantra, if that's what I relate to, then that's going to give me a sense of calmness. So anything that will help to slow me down, that will help me to take a break from the hustle of my thoughts, is a great start for an experience as meditation. I promise you that if time permits, then actually, even if time doesn't permit, I'm going to insist that we will take up an easy meditative relaxation technique today, because I think it's so important in today's day and age to have a tool or have a method that we can kind of go to with ease. And before we end today's session, you all are all going to go back with that as an experience for sure. So moving forward, we said sleep habits, we said introducing a routine, we said meditation. Now coming to P, simple. So P is positive self-talk. Pretty self-descriptive, the word positive self-talk. Uh, the way I talk to myself matters a lot in how I perceive myself. Yet, sadly, harsh criticism, a lot of self doubt, a lot of negative, catastrophic sort of predictions are things that many of us do to ourselves, to say, oh, I'm not sure, this isn't good enough, I'm not sure if people liked it, just a lot of that. And of course, it's not helpful because if I'm constantly thinking things like, I don't have time for this, or I can't do this, or this is going to stress me out, then most definitely it will, because I am constantly repeating that to myself. And for me, that becomes normal. So it's very important to learn how I want to talk to myself. Talking to myself in a more realistic, in a more compassionate manner. When I call myself names, or if I call, kind of call out to having this constant doubt about my ability to succeed, I'm reinforcing that that's the kind of trust I have in myself. And it doesn't matter what anybody thinks of me, it doesn't matter how anybody else trusts me, but that by itself plays a huge part in not allowing me to perform, not allowing me to remain motivated. So every time you notice yourself doing some of those things, pause right there and think of ways in which you can respond to that feeling, that moment, in a kinder inner dialogue. What do I mean by a kinder inner dialogue? If I have a child, visualize for yourself that if you have a child in front of you who is feeling the same thing, would you say the same thing to them, right? Or if it was even your best friend, I use the term best friend because when we're younger and somebody says, oh, who's your best friend, we have somebody, an image in our mind where we say, oh, this person's my best friend. But as you grow older, you realize that while we may still have a best friend, that friend doesn't know every thought that I have, every emotion that I have, every feeling that I wake up with, I sleep with. The only person who knows all of that, like a full peek into me, is just me. So if there's anybody who can really be my best friend, it's got to be me. Now, when I think of having another best friend, like another person, there are multitude of things I want to do for that person, right? I'm like, oh, I'll support them, I'll encourage them, I'll be their cheerleader, I'll be there for them whenever they want. But when it comes to me being my own best friend, we don't do those things. I'm being critical, I'm being judgmental, I'm being harsh, and all of those things. So I think that that's maybe also an easier go to, that if I were my own best friend, then how am I going to support myself, right? What is going to be my conversation with myself that is unconditional, that is kind, that is supportive, that is compassionate? So positive self-talk, can help you develop a healthier outlook. It's got to be optimistic. It's like a compassionate conversation that I can have with myself, and it's helping me to manage my emotions better, helping me to acknowledge, what I'm doing well or what I need to work on. Most people, because they practice a negative self-talk, it not just holds them back from being able to achieve their fullest potential, but it also clouds our mind about ourselves. So affirmations, which is again another tool that each one of us can kind of work with, are, try and identify a few affirmations for yourself. Affirmations are nothing but positive statements that can help me to challenge or overcome any sort of negative thought or any sort of self-sabotaging thought that I am holding on to. So a simple affirmation, if actually maybe I should write it down in the chat window so it's specific to. Okay, the first affirmation for me, I think, is I am confident, competent, and calm. Now, how does our affirmation work? Is to identify a statement that works for me and to read it out, not just say it of my mind, read it out of a sheet of paper every day. Slowly, loudly, and at any given moment, at least 5 times. So I could start in this moment to read this statement slowly, loud enough that I can hear myself, and repeat it 5 times. Then move to the next affirmation. I'm just writing a couple down so everybody has access to them instead of me saying them. Every day I make at least one step that takes me closer to my goals is another very positive affirmation. Okay, so for now, I'm kind of just putting out these 4 affirmations here, which is I am confident, competent, and calm. Every day I make at least one step that takes me closer to my goals. I achieve everything I set out to do, and I am good enough. Now, this is just a teaser into what affirmations look like. They're I statements. They're not something that I'm going to do or I'm going to become. But it is a positive statement. That is something that I believe I already am. A lot of people find it very difficult to say these statements to themselves, as simple as this exercise may seem like, because their conditioning is so strong that this isn't me. And my one point solution to that is that if you're adopting affirmations, you may have any amount of doubt on the statements at that point. But when you are doing the exercise, just try and do it with full conviction. So when you are saying the statements, try and say it with full belief and full conviction for that 10 minutes in the day, to say that this is who I believe of myself and this is who I think I am. And I'm just, for this time, while I'm saying it, I'm going to say it with full conviction in what I'm stating. So, coming,
intervene there. This is Deepika Rashi.
Yes.
So with respect to these affirmations, I know, the second affirmation especially, somehow I feel that is little stressful for me, because if I keep saying, of course, the motto is to take those little steps to go to your closer. But yes, I think what has made me little nervous about things or stressful is, in this pandemic or whatever the reason, every day not able to make a step closer. I think that's the slowdown, especially the pandemic. So which is making my goals is making going much farther than what I thought. So actually I feel that affirmation itself is making me stressful. So I thought maybe I'll just understand from you this, how do we treat this?
Thank you, Deepika, for bringing that up, because this is such a relevant point, because that's the reason why we don't choose to give very generalized affirmations to a group, right? Because exactly this point, that what may be working for me as a person may be very different for you. So if, for example, for me, my affirmation is that I am a winner, or my affirmation is that I have a healthy self-esteem, maybe just that neutral statement may mean a lot differently for another person, and may or may not be their area of concern. When you say that it kind of scares me, or it adds stress to me because it makes me feel like I'm not taking a step. I'm not sure whether that step that you are talking about is a step closer to moving pandemic, or it is about work. But the context of the affirmation was with regard, because we are in a work from home situation, or because there's a lot to get done, and we are struggling with much larger goals in front of us pretty much on most days. The point of the affirmation is that I am repeating to myself that I'm taking, even the one step that I am taking, it's taking me closer to my goal. Having said that, I gave out only 4 affirmations because I do believe that each one of us needs to first, as part of our awareness, identify what are areas that maybe I am being critical of myself on. It could be relationship, it could be my parenting style, it could be how I'm managing my money, how I'm managing my time, what I think of myself as a professional, and look out for affirmations for just specifically those areas. So if you think that a particular affirmation is actually making you worried, do not adopt to it, right? You feel free to kind of not take that on, because go by what gives you a sense of relief, or a sense of direction. Does that answer your question, Deepika?
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe you're right. Maybe I think we should look at, because one of the stressful is like, how do we really accept the slowness because of this pandemic, and how do we really, give ourselves okay if you're not going towards your goal, chill for another 1 week, maybe a better affirmation for me. But you're right. I think it definitely depends.
Yes.
How
I think one beautiful example
Yes,
that
yes.
Prasad has put in here is his affirmation for this time around. Rashi, if you can take a look at what Prasad has written.
Yes, yes. Sure. I see this affirmation, which is that thanking God for giving me a safe haven till date, where there are so many have lost so much in the last 15 days, and I try to do that each day. Uh, and thank you, Prasad, for bringing that up, because I will take that up in just a few moments. That how affirmation is so closely connected to us showing our thankfulness. I'll take that up as we go forward. So just recapping quickly on things we have discussed so far, we said of the habits that we're talking towards our mental well-being. We said sleep habits, we said introducing a routine to our day, we spoke of meditation, we spoke of positive self-talk. Now, coming back to L, which is letting it out of our system, letting it go from our mind. Please understand that if you have many things going on in your mind, running away from them is not a solution. In a previous part of today's session, we spoke of how we spoke of this, right, of talking about things to our family members. But here I'm also talking about, or emphasizing on, the need to letting it out to a professional as and when there is a need. Not just to offload my emotional baggage, but also to seek guidance on how to cope with something that I'm going through in my life right now. So, expressing my feelings, experiencing them first, expressing them thereafter, allowing myself to heal from them. All of it is my responsibility. So, please note that I am including seeking professional guidance as part of things that we do as regular practice. And while it may seem odd to some of you, because it'll be like, oh no, as a regular practice, we don't need to speak to a professional because we can take care of ourselves. But as a professional, I can tell you this with confidence, that 6 out of 10 people who we see as part of our work are not coming in for therapy because there is a problem, right? They're coming because they want to have a safe space to talk about what they're going through. They want to be able to get a professional, objective, non-judgmental view on how they can manage their situations. And most importantly, they want to empower themselves with skills. If you are an MBA, if you are an engineer, you've invested time, right, in learning skills to manage your career, to manage business, to manage all of that, to manage your money, maybe. When it comes to managing my thoughts, my emotions, my relationships, I don't get any skill training. Not for 2 weeks. Forget like 2 years of a full blown course. So I just feel like letting it out, talking to a professional does help in that sense, because most clients that come in are coming for self-development, and hence seeing a therapist or a counselor should be the same thing that should be the same as me saying that it's part of my routine, as in when that I feel the need, as in when that I feel like it'll benefit me to some degree. I will approach it from that perspective. I'm sure that Samina, towards the end of the session, will also throw a little bit light on how you can do this. Uh, Moving forward to something that Prasad mentioned, and I was going to come to that, which is E. So, of simple, we're on the last alphabet now, which is embracing gratitude. Exactly. I mean, I think his affirmation put it all out there for us in one statement. But think of it like this: that COVID-19 has had a way of making people feel like their world has turned upside down. Right at that point, it seemed overnight, and thus all of us have struggled with feeling scared or feeling like how is everyone reacting to the situation. But learning the practice of gratitude every day can help to bring some form of a stability to my life. And what it does is that it helps me to get to focus on what is good rather than what is uncertain or what is unpredictable. Back to what is in my control, or what it is that I am able to take control of, versus those things that I don't have. So what does gratitude do? It actually helps me to shift my perspective and helps me to reminds me to appreciate everything that is actually right in front of me. I may think of kya nahi hai, I may think of what is not working out for me, what is really bad, but when I am practicing gratitude, very automatically I'm bringing my focus to what is there. I have a home, like he said, I have family, we have good health, we have food, we have security, everybody is stable, steady, just basic things. A lot of us are blessed to have a lot more than that, but to kind of take acknowledgement of what is right in front of us. What are the ways in which, if you aren't already practicing gratitude, then what are the ways in which you can start? It could be with maintaining gratitude as a daily habit. So you could maintain a note or maintain a diary where you write down just two things or three things that you are grateful for from today. So it could be that you're grateful, it could even be work related, honestly. So you're grateful for something that went by, something that you were able to complete, something that some sort of support that came through that worked for you. Expressing your gratitude or even writing a genuine thank you note, text, email, whatever, to someone who you feel has sincerely even supported you through the last few months. It can be a friend, a family member, colleague, whoever. Even the last, I'm not going to put this as the least, but most definitely, important is giving thanks or showing gratitude through by prayer or any form of a belief or faith that I may have in a larger power. So, whatever my faith may be, if it's God, then that. If it's not God, then it can be any larger power that I believe is looking after me or is guiding me towards where we go, how I've gotten to this point. So, showing my gratitude towards that larger power. So, maybe start with writing down just two or three things and start that right from today. It'll help you to see what is most important. It'll help you to generate more positive emotions, and as a result of that, also reduce some amount of anxiousness as part of your day-to-day routine. Okay, so to give you a quick recap of what we discussed as part of the simple habits towards your mental health, I'm just kind of giving y'all a recap. So we said S for sleep habits. We said I, introducing a routine to your day. We spoke of meditation. We spoke of positive self-talk, letting it out in conversation to a professional, and also embracing gratitude. So these are some habits that I think that each one of us can kind of go back to and recollect, remember for ourselves, discuss with our family, and try and make them as best as possible a routine into our day. As promised, I've been talking nonstop for a very long time, and I think I want to give all of you a break from that chatter and information overload. We're going to take a little vacation right now? How many people want to go on a vacation? I'm pretty sure that if I was to ask that question, everybody is up and ready. And why do we go for a vacation? Because we want a break, right? When we say I want to go on a vacation, the most common thing is I want a break. And that's one of the most frustrating factors of the pandemic, that we haven't been able to take a break. And today we're going to have a small experience, which is one form of meditation I was talking about earlier. It's called guided imagery. What is guided imagery? It's like taking a small vacation, but in your mind. And it involves imagining yourself being in a happy place. Uh, Usually, this exercise can be guided by someone else. In today's session, I will be guiding that for you. But you could also take the help of using an audio or a pre-recorded, guided meditation to help you to do this. So, just for the next 5 minutes, we're all going to go through this experience together. And I want for you to preferably, so if you feel comfortable, you could switch off your camera for 5 minutes, but I want each one of you to close your eyes. Preferably rest your back towards something. If you have the option, then rest your head against the wall. But if not, then that's all right. Just rest your head on a chair, or you could feel comfortable. Point is to physically feel completely relaxed. And I'm also going to switch off my camera because I don't want any distraction. And over the course of the next 5 minutes, I'm just going to take you through a visualization, towards the end of which we will talk about the impact of. Let's begin. I want all of you to focus on your breathing. And with your eyes closed for the next 10 seconds, place your palm on your belly and breathe in, feeling your breath go down right to the belly. Slowly breathe out with your mouth. Breathe in down to the belly. Breathe out from your mouth. I want you to now visualize yourself seated on a beach. All alone on this pristine, clear beach, under the shadow of a tree. Visualize yourself seated there. While sitting on that beach, your hand still on your belly, your focus still on your breath. Notice the visual of the waves hitting the shore, coming back and forth. The sound of the waves are almost synchronizing with your breathing cycle. And in that moment of doing nothing, you find yourself to be fully relaxed. There is a smell of the ocean that you can sense. And a warmth of the sand beneath you. Seated right there, focusing on the sound of the waves, watching the colors of the sky, the breeze hitting your face or your hair, the smell of the ocean, and the sand, the warmth touching your skin. Stay with this relaxing feeling just for the next 30 seconds. Whenever you're ready, I want you to count backwards from 10 to 0 and slowly open your eyes. Once you're back, uh, you could either unmute yourself to take a moment to share about your experience, or you could also write in the chat window. Please raise your hand if you're back, so I know you're back and you're not still at the beach.
We are now opening this session for Q&A. Any questions that you may have for Rashi, please feel free to share your thoughts, your concerns, or your challenges that Rashi can address. I also have a small link given out in the chat here for your feedback around this workshop so that this will help us improve our content further and come back to you. So please do ensure to give in your feedback and also share your thoughts and challenges so that we can address it right here with Rashi.
Somebody has written to us about how they felt sleepy, and I hear this pretty often and understand why that happens, because we're kind of giving the mind and the body, which is why I call it a mini vacation. We are giving our mind and our body a break, and we're allowing ourselves to not think about anything and just focus on that exercise. So the mind feels so relaxed that it's almost ready to fall asleep. So, quick note here that if falling asleep at night is a problem for you, you could also try this as an exercise. You could also try and, practice a relaxation exercise, either self directed or use a tool. There are ample resources on guided meditation online and on every app possible. So, it should be easy for you to find one that suits you, that you are able to relate to. I'm just going to take a question that has come in and I think is very relevant. I'm going to take this question up a little bit anonymously because it's come directly to me, which is how do I learn or how do I train myself to multitask in a better way? Uh, they're asking that is it good or bad if I fail to perform multitasking, concentration on one or multiple things on the same time? My answer may surprise some of you, but I don't think that multitasking is a very great skill or something that you absolutely have to have, because what multitasking does is that it keeps me under pressure to always then multitask. I start to believe that I always have to be doing multiple things at a time. And in any given moment, I'm not able to focus on what I'm doing at that point. So while I think that it's important that on that spectrum to find my middle space, I can't be someone who only does one thing and complete ignorance to all others. But I also can't think that it is the right thing to do to be on the other end where I have to be able to think about and act on and execute everything all at one point. So find your middle ground. But when you are focusing on a particular task, make sure that you're only focusing on that, and structure your day, structure your time in such a way that when you move to another task, you're there. Part of relaxation exercise, part of meditation experience, part of keeping my mind calm or controlling overthinking has also got to do with multitasking, right? Because if I'm going to be thinking, it's like I have a tab or a laptop and I have 10 tabs open on that laptop, 20 tabs open on that laptop, I'm making it easier for that laptop to crash. But if I have only one open on that laptop or just two open, then I'm going to perform, just that machine is going to perform better. So treat your mind like a machine, right? That if I'm going to have too much open at any given point, then none of it is going to get done, and higher possibility that I will collapse with either feeling exhausted, feeling tired, or just clueless to say, oh, I'm just not able to get things done. Much better would be to kind of filter out what absolutely needs to be done and focus on just two things or three things and get that done before you move to something else. I hope that,
one
yeah.
second. If before you take another question, I just need a moment here to let everybody know that for to empower you with a counseling support, we're introducing a platform which I will take you through after Rashi finishes addressing all the questions. So please stay on and get to understand what we bring for you for your mental well-being. Thank you, Rashi. Please go ahead.
Sure. How do I get rid of preoccupied mind? There's always thinking happening, either work or personal concern. Actually, this question is quite similar to the next question. Let me just take both together. Yes. So both questions, preoccupied mind, drawing out compartments. What I really mean to say is that when my mind was preoccupied, I'm again thinking about things that are not of concern to me in this particular moment. So I think the go-to tool for each of us should be that when I have an interfering thought or when I have something that's going on in the background, I check that thought against the fact that is it relevant to what I'm doing right now? In this moment, if I'm attending a workshop or if I'm attending an interactive session, then whatever thought I am having, I could be having a preoccupied mind about what I have to do towards the end of the day, what I have to do tomorrow, what hasn't got done. But does that have any relevance to what I'm doing right now? So the next question, which is about do I need to kind of have compartments? Yes, to some degree, but I just mean right now to have that compartment for all of these, if I may call them worry related thoughts, right? So have a defined compartment in your day. Let it be towards the end of the day, where every time you have a thought through the span of your day, which is not relevant to what you're doing in that moment, push that away to that compartment. So if my worry time, or if my thinking time, or that is, let's say, at a 9 o'clock or a 10 o'clock, where I know that I will get a 30 minutes to spend with myself, take that time at that time to think about all of these things, and push the irrelevant thoughts to that point, and think about it at that time. So when you do that, you're constantly able to keep your attention to a given moment, at least 60-70% more than you are able to already. And compartmentalizing, then, as it is, as part of our previous conversation about having a routine, where anyway having a routine to getting things done, but to worry, to have the unnecessary thoughts, I'm defining a short 20-30 minute window towards the end of the day and attending to it only at that time. So I think that should answer both of these questions. We don't have any further questions at this point, but I'm going to encourage all of you, in case there's anything that you feel like asking hasn't been taken up, please feel free to shoot us an email. I'd be okay to respond to your questions at a later point also. And I hope that today's session has been able to help each of you to take back something. And the point here is that, if we are going through something, there's no purpose in sort of suffering in silence, or not taking care of our mental health, or not seeking guidance for it. So as important as it is for me to take care of my physical health, that much for my mental health. And over to Samina now to get her to share with all of you how this has been made more accessible to you, and how you can have more access to trained counselors. And Samina, please take over and let everybody learn from you about that.
Thank you so much, Rashi. So as Rashi just mentioned, that counseling will be the key to ensure your mental well-being. One of the techniques that Rashi emphasized was letting it out. It's very, very important for your emotional and mental well-being to let out the challenges that you're going through. And that's the reason why we, in collaboration with PI Worldwide, are happy to bring you an EAP platform, confidential counseling support system for you, to empower you with all the support that you need across any challenging times, feelings, or situations you're going through. And we have a panel of counseling experts out there to help you with the right strategies and solutions you need for any kind of challenge, big or small, that is you think is impacting your mental well-being. I'll just take a very quick moment to share my screen and take you through what we have on this platform. As I said, EAP, or the Employee Assistance Program, is the main offering here, where we are bringing this to you to empower you with the right counseling support that we need across this pandemic and beyond it, to support you on a wide range of work-life challenges. We have an EAP platform that has not just psychological counselors, but a panel of counseling experts from different domains to help you walk out of any challenge or problem area that you're going through right now. And it's very, very simple and easy to use this platform. But the most important aspect to this is it is very, very confidential and personalized. So please feel free, absolutely feel free to and open to come and discuss, have that breaking of ice with the experts. Whatever you discuss with the experts out here will not be informed to us or neither to your employers. It will only be between you and the counselors. Nothing at all is being shared with us or anybody. So please absolutely feel free to share your concerns. Now, this is the tab that you see in the center of the screen, which is called Employee Assist. This is the expert and confidential counseling service that is coming your way on behalf of your organization, PI Worldwide. So what you do to seek a counseling appointment or set up a counseling appointment is to just click on this tab, and depending on the challenge area or the area that you want to work upon or improve, you can select a counselor. The first option that you see is for the psychological counselor. If there's anything around psychological issues, you can reach out to a psychological counselor. If there is a parenting challenge that you're dealing with that is causing you mental stress or anxiety, or that is impacting your mental well-being, you can reach out to parenting counselors and experts. If there is any financial aspect or anxiety that is causing you or impacting your mental well-being, then please feel free to reach out to financial counselor. Likewise, we also have legal consultant and counselors for any problems or challenges around legal issues, right? And it's fairly, very, very easy to use these services. All you need to do is click on the tab based on the counseling expert you need. For example, if I need a psychological counselor to help, I will click on this icon that says counselor. In a moment, I'll have a very, very small form opening up. Now, this is the page for psychological counseling. Here, briefly, it's mentioned what kind of support will be provided and in what situations you can reach out to a psychological counselor. But definitely, it is not limited to just this. Any kind of issue you want to deal or talk to the counselor about, you can reach out to a psychological counselor. There is a tab here that you see that says request a call back. Click on this tab. A very small form opens up, which will ask you only for your mobile number. And if you wish to specify, you can briefly specify the challenge area for which you are seeking a counseling appointment. If you do not wish to do that here, please feel free to skip this comments box and just leave this form with your phone number. So I'll enter my number here and click on the submit button to complete appointment booking for the counseling, right? So once I do that, I'll get a small affirmatory message saying that my counseling appointment is booked. And as soon as this happens, team member from the counselor's office will reach out to you in about, sometimes it can be around a half an hour to an hour to maximum, an hour and a half, maximum of that. And then based on a time that is suitable for you and the counselor, the support team will align you with the counselor. The counselor will call you and you can go on a confidential counseling appointment with the counselor. It's a mobile-based service. So it's very important that when you're keying in your number, please ensure that you key in your right mobile number, the mobile number on which you want the counselor to call you, right? So this is how simple and easy it is to seek counseling support on any area of your concern or challenge, right? As I mentioned, I'll just reiterate that there are a panel of counseling experts available for you to help you across various work-life challenges that we are dealing with today. Yeah, so this is one of the most important aspect of counseling, which is needed to ensure that we are mentally and emotionally strong. Okay. In addition to the EAP platform, we also have for you unlimited doctor consultation support. This is being brought to you because we all know that today, either all of us have limited or no access to doctors. So the idea was to make doctors accessible to you. Doctor consultations, all you need to do is click on this tab that says Total Health. And here you will find two options to seek doctor consultations. One is chat with a doctor, and the second one is get a call from a doctor. If you have some basic health related queries and you want to just finish them off by chatting to a live medical expert available for you, all you need to do is click on this chat window and a chat window opens up. Within a minute or two, you will have a doctor live with you, chatting with you, and you can discuss all the problems that you want to talk to them about. Another interesting feature here is while you're chatting with the doctor, in case you want to show them or share with them any kind of report or any prescription or anything, you have that option right here. See, I already have a doctor available for me. It's not even a minute since I've logged into the chat window. And the option for uploading your reports is right here, right on the top right corner that you see here, upload new reports. You can click and submit and share any report or prescription or anything at all that you want the doctor to see as they're chatting with you. So this is how the chat window works. But in case you just do not wish to only end up chatting with a doctor, but you actually want to physically talk to them, then you can use the option of get a call from doctor, where you can actually go on a mobile consultation. And the process of setting up a mobile consultation appointment with a doctor is same as we did for the psychological counselor or any other counselor for that matter. So all I need to do here is click on this icon and then leave in my mobile number on which I want the doctor to reach me. If I wish to, I can specify the medical condition or need for which I am seeking a doctor consultation. So it's always good to specify the reason why you're reaching out for a doctor consultation. And please be rest assured, all of these will be maintained confidential. So you will have your privacy. So please ensure to share whatever you want to share here. The right doctor or medical expert will be aligned to you. So this is another feature. And the best part of this is all these services, this unlimited confidential counseling support that is coming your way, unlimited doctor consultation support that is coming your way, is not just restricted to you, but we are happy to let you know that this is being extended to your immediate family members also, because we know that your family is also important for you, their well-being is also important for you, and so it is for your organization BI Worldwide. So that's why it's being extended to you and your family members as well. So these are the core benefits that are being brought to you. In addition to this, we have one more thing. As part of these special ongoing wellness programs that we're doing, we also have some additional open wellness programs for which you can register here. Here on the right side of the screen, you're seeing a tab that says Moving Towards Happiness. These are nothing but specially curated wellness programs designed and curated to help you stay active, healthy, and positive in these unprecedented times. And the whole idea is to work and focus on your well-being and happiness. So whenever you want to see what events are going on and in which events you want to participate in, all you need to do is click on this tab that says register here, and you will see all the events that are upcoming for this specific week. You can decide which event you want to take part in, areas which are related to your health, to your financial well-being, to your nutrition, to your immunity boosting. There's so many topics that are covered in this open program, so you can participate in any of the programs that interests you or is an area of concern or interest to you. In addition to these open programs, as you all know, we are also doing this very, very exclusive specialized programs only meant for you, BI Worldwide team. Nicola, if you wish to please add on anything to what I and Rashi have to say, you're please welcome to do that.
The only thing I wanted to add on is a big thank you, Samina, for working with me. I know it's been, challenging in terms of getting time to do this, but I just wanted to leave everyone with this one thing. And Rashi, even your session, just like a lot of us know some of these concepts, but taking the time, and I could see, I was looking at, the clock saying, oh my God, we're 24 minutes over. And we're always in a rush, right? One thing into the other. But the reason I think the whole piece around planning, multitasking is a lot about how do each of us take the time for ourselves. Being working moms, some of them, are here. Anyone for that matter, right? Everyone's life is full of responsibilities and things that we would like to get done. So the only thing that I would like to reiterate is the reason why all of us that you all have taken the time today is because you all have already taken the pledge to invest in yourselves. And that's amazing. Thank you for joining us. But unless we make time for ourselves, there'll always be something pressing. So give it due importance. That's the first one. And secondly, with all of the things that were shared by Rashi today, as well as the platforms that we have going forward, the effectiveness of it is how much you take the time and you look at your curiosity around some of this, right? Some things may work. I can put my hand up very openly and say, I was one of those who could just not meditate. It was, a song used to come into my mind or whatever else, right? But I've gotten better at doing that. Like from January, I've been using these guided meditation apps. It's what floats your boat. Go with that and don't get overly, critical of yourself if you can't do something that you thought was supposed to be a certain way. So I loved the conversation. We didn't have enough time to share. I would have loved to have another session where everyone else could possibly share what they're going through, but we look at how we can get that, going, Samina, with you. But thank you, Rashi. Sorry, Samina, you were responding?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one point. You're right, Nicola, that we didn't have enough time to do all the sharing. I think that gap will be filled up by the platform that we are launching, the counseling support system that is there. If you couldn't have your questions or challenges addressed in this session right now, please feel free to use this platform and have all your questions and concerns answered out there.
Absolutely. And thank you, Rashi. That was a lovely vacation, one of the best that I've taken in the recent times, but we hope to get back there. And
Thank
Samina,
you.
thanks
Thank
for
you,
your
everybody. I'm so glad that everybody was able to participate and take back. And I hope that everybody is able to use the EAP services because most definitely working on yourself, working on your thoughts and emotions is in a constant way. You know, when you do it consistently, there's no way you won't see results of it in your emotions, in your relations with family, in your work. So I look forward to connecting with you all in the future, and I wish everybody the best. Thank you so much for having me over.
Thank you, Rashi.
Thank you,
Thank
Rashi.
you so much. And good day, all of you. Please stay safe. Make the best out of what we have for you and ensure your mental and emotional well-being. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.